Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video. Today I will be doing a review / commentary about the Seiko SARG009. That's S-A-R-G, not the B, it's not a SARB. Some people call it a SARG or SARG. I call it a SARG009. This is one of the older statesmen of my collection. I never anticipated really doing a video on this watch simply because it's been around quite some time. It's discontinued, so there's a lot of videos on YouTube about it. But when I did my State of the Collection video several weeks ago, a viewer commented about it and encouraged me to do a dedicated video on it. So here we are. So like I said, I've had this, I had to have bought it sometime in 2017, but before it was announced it was discontinued, because at that time in my watch collecting, I wasn't paying more than, $325, $350 for a watch. It just wasn't a priority for me at that time. So I know it was before it was announced it was discontinued, because as soon as that happens, we all seen what happened to the SKX prices and the SARB line last year when everything got discontinued. So I knew I bought it. I know I bought it before it was discontinued. And at the time, I didn't even know what I was really getting, what a special watch this was. Like I said, I wasn't in the loop to where I knew when watches were being released and issued and when they were being discontinued. So I feel like I stumbled across this watch and I feel very fortunate to have it. And for those reasons, I probably will always have this in my collection. I don't see myself letting this watch go simply because of how special it is and the fact that it's not made anymore. And I think for me, there's only one shortcoming of this watch that could possibly make it a one watch collection type watch. And I'll get into that a little further in the video. So real quick, like I said, this isn't a real review of it, but I will go over the specs real quick. It's a 40 millimeter case across the case diameter, 47 lug to lug, 12 millimeters thick, and a 20 millimeter lug width. It has the Seiko 6R15 automatic movement, 23 joule with a 50-hour power reserve, sapphire crystal, and I really like the crystal on this, although I've never found anything that said whether or not this has an AR coating. I don't think it does, because it is a glare monster. Maybe that's another shortcoming of it, but yeah, I don't really pay much attention to that. I mean, if you have a glare, just slightly move your wrist in another direction. You can tell the time. It's a 100 water meter resistance with a non-screw down crown, and that is my hang up, my one huge flaw about this watch. If this thing had a screw down crown and like a 200 meter water resistance rating, this watch would cover so many boxes, check marks for watch enthusiasts. And anybody who knows Seiko, the one thing Seiko seems to always get correct, every watch company, watch brand, they have like that one thing that they do really well, and Seiko's thing is their dials. It is just hard to beat Seiko when it comes to their dials. And one thing I love about this dial is that it looks very simplistic, but there's so much going on in this dial. This is definitely a definition of less is more. To a quick glance at it, it's just a black dial with large Arabics and people move on. But it's so much more than that. The Arabics are printed on with the Luma Bright. So, and they're not a white. They're not a white. It's that Luma Bright off white with a little bit of tinge to it. So it doesn't have a big vintage look to it, but they're not bold white. So they just it's an off color to it. The Seiko logo, I'm gonna zoom in. The Seiko logo is applied, but it has a brush finish to it. And the only other thing on the dial is automatic and 23 joules. And I think the biggest thing that people miss when they look at this dial is generally when you have a black colored dial, let me focus in here, the markers on the outer chapter ring are typically going to be white. But on this watch, they're this very subdued gray color. And the same goes with the hand set. It's not a bright stainless steel brushed finish. Not that brushed has a bright look, but they look subdued. It's almost like a gunmetal finish to it. And like I said, you don't notice it if you just glance at it, a quick glance over. And to me, that's the great thing about this watch. It has a blacked out date wheel, which is perfect. You know, for me, one of my pet peeves is having a gorgeous dark dial, black or a blue dial, than having a bright date wheel, a white date wheel. I like it when the date wheel matches, as closely matches the dial color. Turn it over and get a view of the movement. Like I said, the 6R15, when fully wound, has a 50 hour power reserve. Now the bracelet is very common. It's basically, you know, what you would get on a SARG-33 or 35. You know, that's, as I spoke about what Seiko's strength is their dials. Seiko's weakness has always been their straps and bracelets. And this one's no different. However, it's just good enough to where I've never changed it out. And now that I've owned this watch as long as I have, and I've never changed it out, I doubt I will, because it has the bracelet has all the wear marks on it now. And I feel if I were changed it out with something newer, it would just look out of place. The clasp is all scuffed up, as well as the back side of the bracelet from, you know, working at a desk and that type of stuff. And as you can see on the case, plenty of little beauty marks. And like I've said before in videos, I use my watches, I don't abuse them. And if they get a mark on them, a scuff, a ding, so be it. That's what watches are for. They're made to wear and made to experience. So the bracelet and the case have been together from the factory, and they have equal amount of wear and patina on it. So at this juncture, I doubt I will ever take the bracelet off, unless the bracelet breaks and I can't replace it. Then at that point, I will have to come up with another option. This watch looks amazing on a black leather strap, a plain black, or a black with white stitching, or an off-white stitching. I've seen it on both of those, and it just looks amazing. But I will keep it, like I said, intact with the OEM bracelet. Another, I almost forgot, a little feature about the dial is the Arabic numbers, the 2, 4, 8, and 10 are large in themselves, but the 12 and 6 is very, almost exaggerated large. But it's done in such a way it doesn't look out of place. But when you really study the dial, it jumps out at you, and it's like, that's just so different, you know? You don't really see that too often. Because like I said, if the 12 and 6 were the same size as the 2, 4, 8, and 10, you would think, oh yeah, that's the way it should be. But the 12 and 6 are much larger, but it still works with the dial. So I just think that's such a neat little subtlety to it. And so, yeah, that's just a quick view over of the watch. One thing I see, yeah, there's that huge glare. Yeah, there's no way this is AR coded. So here's a question posed to everybody. We've had Seiko's had the Alpinist rebranded, and I'm assuming at some point they'll do the SARG line rebranded. In fact, I think they already kind of have replaced the 33 and 35. So at some point, do you think this SARG field watch will be rebranded under the Presage or Prospex line? I think at some point it will. and they will, you know, use their updated movement that they put in the Alpinist maybe, or something similar to it. And if they do that, I hope they increase the water resistance and put a screw down crown on it. And if they do that, I think that would be like almost the perfect watch, and you know, you wouldn't really need too much more than that. So, but yeah, there's a quick video on this watch. I wanted to do it, like I said, since I had a viewer comment and suggest I do it. So three things I like about this watch. Kind of just went over all three of them. It's the dial. This watch is all about the dial. So, you know, the dial in general, the Arabics, the lume, you know, that has the, you know, the fabulous Seiko Lumibright. You can see my thumbnail picture, and that's just in low light conditions, not even in the dark. And my one frown upon this watch is non-screw down crown, because even though I don't baby my watches, I am aware of when I have this watch on and if I'm around water, simply because this watch is discontinued and I don't want it to get ruined if I submerge it too deep in water. So yeah, so there's my video. Please leave a comment down below if you think Seiko should or will re-release this under Prospex or Presage, and please like the video if you know, click the thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe and hit the bell notification. I appreciate the support. At the time of filming this, I'm at 49 subscribers, I think, so I'm hoping this video will push me over the 50 mark. And thank you everyone for your support, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.